is Blue Protocol going to be any good? Well, we did really enjoy our time with the game during the recent Japanese closed beta and spent a lot of time messing about with the different systems, experiencing the content it has to offer, and testing out different classes. But there were definitely some glaring issues when it comes to some of these mechanics in the game. For Blue Protocol to be an actual good game, then these issues would have to be fixed, and there's good news as in a recent developer live stream, Bandai Namco have addressed some of the biggest issues that players had in the beta in the hopes to make the overall game experience much better. So we're going to go through all of the important feedback changes that they've made so that you know what's different. But before we do that, it would be great to know what relatively small thing is a deal breaker for you in your games. I'm currently playing through Honkai Star Rail and loving it, but not being able to completely skip dialogue is definitely grinding my gears. So it'd be awesome to hear what grinds your gears down in the comments below. And if you enjoy our videos, make sure to hit that like button. It's for the YouTube algorithm and it really helps, so thank you if you do. And if you aren't subscribed, we have loads of content every day that you don't want to miss out on. So the first thing to know is one of the biggest changes that the development team have made, and that is to the elite monsters. They want to make the battles feel more engaging without being too frustrating, so they're going to adjust the HP values and increase their attack values. I think this will make the battles feel much more enjoyable and balanced, without making you feel like you're wasting too much time to defeat a monster that's too difficult or just has a whole ton of health. Another significant change is the increase in drop rates for hard dungeons based on player feedback. It's great to see that the development team is now taking our feedback seriously and making changes to the game to make it more rewarding and fun. So now we're going to be able to enjoy getting more drops and feeling like we're making more progress as we play through the game and farm. We actually did love the gameplay of Blue Protocol. It was super fun and I do wish the game was out so I could play it right now, but it did have a big issue when it comes to the skills and the balance around them. The developers have made some top level changes to the way that combat works. One of these changes is that all classes' cooldowns will be adjusted, which will enhance the overall combat experience, as on some classes they had large cooldowns on every skill, meaning you had long periods of downtime where you were just auto attacking, so it's great that this has been adjusted. They've actually given some examples of these skills being adjusted. For example, the Spellweaver's tactical skills have received a damage buff, with Blizzard being the most buffed one. Additionally, for the Spellweaver, the team has made concentration, which is effectively your mana of that class, more effective, so that you'll be able to cast skills a lot more frequently, if not all of the time. However, players will still need to be cautious when generating aggro to avoid getting targeted during combat, as the Spellweaver is a bit more squishy. But this is a great change because spellcaster classes should be like glass cannons. They're super squishy, but they put out a ton of damage. But managing your aggro should actually get a bit easier going forwards, as the team have addressed an issue that players were getting targeted too easily while generating aggro. In addition to the aggro generation issue though, the development team have made changes to the abilities of each class to improve the overall balance in gameplay. For example, the Blade Warden's aggro skill they did say was actually kind of weak, especially at lower levels, but the team have now made it more useful and powerful by adding the provoke effect to it. In contrast, the Twin Striker's tactical skills have been modified to have reduced cooldowns and increased damage across most of their skills, so the Twin Strikers are going to be throwing out all of the moves and hopefully putting out some great DPS. The development team have also made significant improvements to often overlooked classes like the Keen Strider and Foe Breaker. The Keen Strider's tactical skill cooldowns have been reduced and their healing abilities have been increased, making them more versatile and useful in a team setting. On the other hand, the Foe Breaker has received a reduction in tactical skill cooldowns, making their abilities more accessible and impactful. Another huge point of pain was gathering out in the open world. Guys, I have to tell you, some of those gathering missions took forever just to get one drop that you needed, and then you needed like 5 of them. It was insane. So to improve the gameplay experience, changes have been made to the drop rate for rare enemy drops. The original design was to encourage players to form parties to hunt for materials, but partying up wasn't super common as the developers would have thought it would be. So adjustments have been made to the field play to address this issue, although partying up is still the recommended approach for gathering materials. Another change that's implemented that I love to see is that certain gathering spots are now guaranteed to drop a specific material. It can be super frustrating to repeatedly gather from a spot without actually obtaining the desired item that does come from that node. So the game developers have ensured that some spots will provide guaranteed drops, while others will remain RNG. This is an amazing change and I'm so happy that you guys don't have to experience the grind as it was before just to get one mushroom that you needed to progress. The next change is to a system that has probably caused us the most frustration, and that is the leveling system. Here is a quick run through of the system. Basically, you have your traditional levels, but also your adventure rank. After leveling up enough, you would basically hit blockers where you couldn't level anymore unless you completed things in the adventure rank board and increased your gear score by crafting echoes that function as your gear in this game. During that time, even if you completed a quest, you wouldn't receive the XP reward for it as you were capped. And often the adventure board quests were super trivial things like gathering quests or fetch quests that really slowed down your progression to an unenjoyable pace. The developers actually intended for this system to be more manageable by encouraging the creation of enhanced echoes, but this has proved to be a significant challenge. As a result, many players found themselves stuck in the early game with no means of progressing further. To address this issue though, the level cap has been eliminated, allowing players to level up more quickly and efficiently. With this change in place, you are no longer bound to the restrictions of the adventure rank system, and players can then make meaningful progress regardless of their rank. This update has definitely made the game more accessible and enjoyable for both new and experienced players, and is a massive change that should remedy a lot of the main issues that players had with the game. It's super nice to see them actively listening to player feedback and then making changes that address these issues. They have also simplified the adventure rank board, making it easier to progress along each node, which is a welcome change. There were also a few other cool bits of information that you should know about from the stream that weren't about the feedback from the beta directly. The first is that the beta was the last for Japan, but hopefully they will announce a Western beta sooner than later, which will mean a lot of you guys can enjoy it for yourself and test it out. They also went through a bunch of different stats and infographics within the stream so that you can see player data based on the classes played, the items crafted, and the levels that players reached. You can actually see in the classes played that the Blade Warden ended up being one of the most played classes at a higher level in the beta, with Keen Strider and Twin Striker being the most played at the lower level end. I also want to say a big thank you to Blue Protocol Database for their translations, and I would recommend their Discord as it's a friendly place to be in, as we've been lurking there and it's always been a positive experience when we've checked in. Guys, hit that like button if you enjoyed this recap, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And the two videos on screen now we think you'll really enjoy if you did enjoy this one. You don't have to watch them if you don't want to, but if you did find this video interesting or helpful, you should probably check these ones out too. And then tell us what you think after watching in the comments down below.